Hello there and welcome to a brand new episode of Hala Kuwait. My name is Tariq Al-Aryan and we're coming to you live tonight from the Ministry of Information studios right here in downtown Kuwait. And I hope everyone out there is having a great evening wherever you may be watching tonight's episode of the program. As usual, the camera crew have been very busy filming all around the state of Kuwait. We have a lot of great reports to get you caught up on tonight's episode, time permitting. And right now, we'd like to get to our first report this evening right here on Hala Kuwait. Recently, the Honourable Julie Bishop, MP, Australian Minister for Foreign Affairs, was recently right here in the state of Kuwait. And Kuwait TV and KTV2 had an exclusive interview with her. So let's now take a look at this interview with the Australian Minister for Foreign Affairs. Stay tuned. Welcome to the State of Kuwait, Minister Bishop. I know you're here to take part in the international conference for the reconstruction of Iraq, as well as signing a MOU with the State of Kuwait. But before we get into that, can you please tell our audience a little bit about the Kuwaiti-Australian relationship, the strong bilateral relationship in terms of education, trade, people-to-people links, please?
I'm delighted to be here in Kuwait, and yesterday I had a very positive meeting with your Foreign Minister when we discussed the growing economic ties between Australia and Kuwait. There are natural synergies between our two economies. There's a substantial investment by Kuwaiti companies in Australia already in energy and resources, and I think that there's potential for that to increase, and likewise Australian companies are keen to invest here in Kuwait. And we discussed ways that we can enhance that two-way trade and investment. It's already healthy, but there's room for much more. On a people-to-people level, we are delighted to welcome Kuwaiti students to Australia to receive a very high-quality education and a very pleasant experience coming to visit us in Australia. And we'd like to see more exchange between students and also tourists. Australia is a wonderful place to visit.
Very beautiful country, and the people in Kuwait, Minister, love to travel and explore new countries. So maybe you could, a few minutes, tell us about your beautiful country of Australian places to see and things to do there.
Australia is an island continent. We have magnificent beaches on the Indian Ocean, on the Pacific Ocean. Our cities are sophisticated, amongst the most livable cities on earth, independently judged, of course. Sydney is a wonderful place to visit, very vibrant, very dynamic, but also Melbourne, very sophisticated lifestyle, have a lot to offer in terms of visitors, and we'd love to see more Kuwaitis come to Australia.
Minister, can you tell us a little bit back to the conference, international conference that's being held right here in the state of Kuwait, and what you've seen so far and what's been discussed and your views so far?
First, we had a meeting co-hosted by the United States with Kuwait on the global coalition to defeat ISIS. And as you're aware, last year the Iraqi government declared success in driving ISIS, the terrorist organisation, out of parts of Iraq that they had claimed. And so the coalition recommitted to supporting Iraq to ensure it doesn't become a haven for terrorist groups. And we discussed returning foreign terrorist fighters, including to our region in Southeast Asia. Then the Reconstruction Conference is about building Iraq in the peace. Having won the war, they now need to win the peace. And there was an enormous level of interest, global interest, in investing in Iraq to ensure that it can return to a stable and prosperous nation.
Minister Bishop, can you please tell us about your Australia's contribution to alleviating humanitarian suffering and supporting stabilization efforts in Iraq, please?
Well, Australia has been supporting the Iraqi government in its fight against terrorism since 2014. We have about 300 defence personnel training Iraqi security forces, assisting in counter-terrorism. On the humanitarian and stabilisation front, Australia's provided a cash contribution of about $180 million. We are working with the Iraqi authorities to ensure that the funding can assist in the nation building that is so necessary. Yes, there's been a humanitarian crisis that is being addressed, but now it's about rebuilding the infrastructure. Much of the city's infrastructure has been devastated, particularly in Mosul and places like that. So it's part of rebuilding Iraq so that it can again be a wealthy and prosperous nation.
At the end of our interview this evening, Minister Bishop, do you have any last words or comments for the audience watching right here on Kuwait TV?
Well, I invite them to come and visit us in Australia. Come down under and visit Australia, see our beautiful beaches, our friendly people, and be part of the growing engagement between Australia and Kuwait.
Well, we'd like to thank you very much for your valuable time with us, and we wish you a very pleasant and prosperous stay right here in the state of Kuwait.
Thank you. I'm enjoying it very much.
Thank you. Well, we'd like to thank the Honourable Julie Bishop, MP, Australian Minister for Foreign Affairs, for that exclusive interview right here on Hala Kuwait for Kuwait TV. Well, right now we'd like to move on to our interview segment, our first interview that we have. We have with us right here in the studio, we have with us Ramadan, who is a motivational speaker and influencer. Ramadan, welcome to our program, Hala Kuwait.
What an honor for me to be at this great channel representing the country of Kuwait at KTV2. It's a moment that is it's unpredictable. I cannot be so thankful enough for this great opportunity to be in front of you, to be in front of this great team at this live channel. So it's an honorable opportunity of a lifetime for me.
Well, thank you very much for your very kind words, and we appreciate your kindness and thoughtful comments to us. And tell us a little bit, Ramadan, how did you get involved in being a motivational speaker and influencer? Tell us a little bit about your background, please.
It's not much about being involved as much as it's about following your dreams and passion. We all started from somewhere, and the consistency, the will, the dedication towards what you're planning to do, what you are desired to do, is what gives you the key to success. Because the information that you have, if it's not transformed into a plan, it's just a dead information that you already have. So the contribution of people's success, the contribution that I got from my mentors, my leaders, and the people that influenced me, gave me a small message that I should be responsible one day for influencing someone else. Like, we don't call ourselves influencers. Like, people tell you you're an influencer. You can't just walk around, I'm a motivational speaker, I'm an influencer. Titles doesn't matter to me as much as results and outcomes from people matters to me.
So tell us, Ramadan, now about that. What have you done, like some motivational speeches and so forth? We were talking before we came on here, you've given some presentations to universities, schools. Tell us a little bit about your work.
I work in a sports field, in a sports shop field, and it consists of a team and training development staff. I'm more involved into training them about the KPIs, the tools, the elements that will help you to achieve the best results in retail. As a motivational speaker, I did in my own university as a student. I had the opportunity, the honorable opportunity of delivering a leadership class to my colleagues. It's in leadership and decision-making leadership skills in European and Global University, where I graduated from the bachelor degree. I did once in Kuwait Sports Medical Center. I was a main sponsor for it's a program like The Biggest Loser for losing weight. So I did like 12 sessions.
Great.
And I did one public audience session.
Okay, very nice.
So yeah, I can say I'm a starter. I cannot say I'm an influencer yet, but I think I'm on the right path due to what I'm getting feedbacks from.
Good to hear that. And tell us now a little bit from your viewpoint. Can you tell us a little bit about the educational level in schools and institutions in Kuwait of what you've seen, Ramadan?
I wouldn't talk about Kuwait specifically. I will talk in general about the educational levels. For me, I think we should admire and we should be grateful and thankful for all the information, knowledge we have gained from schools, universities, and institutions when it comes to the curriculum, to the materials, the topics we've learned. But what I think is we're missing the interest of people. We're focusing too much on theories and materials and subjects more than we're focusing on people's development, people's skills, people's own mentality of transforming these informations into plans. Like, how many of us had informations that we never used in our lives? And how many of us executed from things we've learned by experience? So I admire the educational level in the whole region, yes, but I think we're missing the part of investing more on students and humans more than materials and books.
Okay, so that needs to be improved in your opinion?
In my basic, humble opinion, I think we should, because people are the main elements of success. It's not always books and materials.
Yeah, so need to invest more in the people-to-people interaction, huh?
Yeah, like we reach a level in life where we consult a life coach or we consult someone for an advice, and the basic things they tell us to do is meditate, communicate, express, know yourself, have self-awareness. So we know where the problem is, so we have a room for improvement. We identified the issue. Why don't we start it at early stages when we know we're going to reach this level one day? So if it's with this era of technologies and social media and the generation of maturity now, I think it's going to be easy to communicate between
that brings us to our other subject. Social media is really popular now. It's booming, especially with the, you said students, you know, the young, the youth, the generation now that just are graduating or in high school and universities. So tell us more how social media is influencing studies, influencing people's behaviors.
It is. For me, social media is as critical as a nuclear bomb and as useful as the many resources we have. We choose what we're looking for. I appreciate the old generations for passing exams and MBAs with no Googles, with no resources. They had to look for materials and books. Now
you had to go to libraries.
Yeah, you have to. Now we have the opportunity of doing things simply just by typing a website and I admire social media because I had personally the opportunity to meet people that I've never thought of meeting one day. Influencers, I've read articles, I've listened to audios, watched videos. If social media didn't exist, I think we wouldn't have the chance to interact with these people. So social media for me is one of the easiest tools that will help us reach a certain point of success in terms of resources, education, and information.
But a lot of people, Ramadan, say social media, you know, we were saying earlier that it should be more, let's say, human-to-human interaction. Social media, some people say, that has declined with the on-rise of social media. So there's some pluses and minuses, huh?
We should take the advantage of social media, and we should not forget that the human interaction is more important. For me, it's more important than social media. So mixing up things to complete social media influence with the human interactions influence is something that will get us a huge positive result in the end.
Yeah, so it's important for education
For
too,
me,
huh?
it is. For me, it is. It helps. It's easier. It gets things faster done. So it saves time for people to have time to communicate person to person in real life.
So did that help you in your studies, Ramadan?
It did. It did. I think if there's no Google and Google Scholar, I wouldn't pass my bachelor degree yet. So yeah, for me, it does. It does. It's still helping because now I'm a student of Masters of Leadership and Sustainability in UK. So it helps me a lot, especially that my course is online and requires lots of resources, interaction with people from overseas. So with social media, things got much easier with me.
Okay, so it helped you a lot then,
It
huh?
did. I admire social media personally.
Oh, that's great to hear. I mean, and now when you see the schools and the institutions and universities, the students these days, how do you see them in terms of their learning and so forth?
Indeed, we have a huge number of great, smart students, talented students. But what I would like to see as well is the development of their skills. Like many of us as students before, when you graduate with high degrees, you apply for a job and then you realize you're having lack in communication, you're having lack in self-awareness, you're lacking the emotional intelligence. So the skills, the greatness of these students are lost, not because they're bad or they're weak, because we haven't invested in things that we know one day we will reach. Like, what if we mix emotional intelligence classes in schools? What if we mix meditation classes in schools? What if we mix human-person interactions at schools? These will help the presentation skills. These will help the confidence of the students. Like, many apply for a job and you were like, excuse me, why am I not accepted? I have a high degree. Yes, but you're lacking confidence, like you're lacking communication. We need someone who has this experience of life. Education is great. Students are great as well. So I think we should invest more on their enhancement and development.
And this is what you term like some courses in university for this?
Yes. Even at
Tell us
schools,
more.
like
Yeah.
especially nowadays, the kids are smart enough to understand easy with the era of technologies and social media. So why don't we inherit and invest during school times, like on levels? They will reach a level at universities where things will be easy for them when they apply for real life job.
Yeah, so that's an important factor that people should look into. And Ramadan, you've noticed now that motivational speakers, they're in high demand. People like them to come to companies and so forth and teach them about different skills when it comes to work environment.
True.
And so forth. So you plan to be doing some of these things more in the future?
I would love to. I would spend more time on approaching and getting more invitations. I would love to. Like, we criticize sometimes the number of influencers, life coaches, social media influencers. I'll ask you a question, Tariq. What if you have an army and you never fought in war? And suddenly a war requirement comes up? What's the first thing would you do? Aside of filming on Snapchat and tweeting that you're having a war now, you would build and enhance this army to be ready to fight.
Sure.
Same thing happens in social media. Lots of people are not aware of themselves. Lots of people are, I'm not talking about all, we're saying the majority nowadays. We're focusing more on technologies, materials, and social media things. We're not focusing on real human interactions. That's the only reason motivational speakers, influencers, life coaches are increasing, because the demand requires more. Before we had few, now we're having many. Because before we had less depressed people, now we're having many depressed people. So the more this number goes up, the more the demand goes up on motivational speakers as well.
Well, it was a pleasure to have you on our program this evening, Ramadan. At the end of our interview, do you have any last words or comments for the audience watching Hala Kuwait tonight?
I would love to meet everyone. I would love to have more inquiries. I would love to contribute in people's success. Whoever is watching this, whoever is listening to this, you are great, you are successful. Do not let anyone stop your dreams. Keep fighting, keep the dedication and the consistency. I love you all.
Well, very well said, and we appreciate your positivity and wish you all the best of luck in your future endeavors.
Wish you the same. Wish you the same.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We were speaking to Ramadan, who is a motivational speaker, influencer, and we'd like to thank him very much for his time with us this evening right here on Hala Kuwait. Right now, we're going to move on to another one of our great reports on the National Folkloric Celebration. So let's take a look at this celebration, and then we'll be back with you with some more of our segments. Stay tuned.
We want to welcome you here. As workers in the governorate, we wanted to spread the spirit of celebration of the National and Liberation Days in Kuwait. We want to spread the spirit with the people, and we put together this event with many participants and volunteers, and we hope to see you tomorrow too, the same time, same place on Saturday. Thank you very much.
I'm here today with my colleagues at Al Adan Park to give people advices about first aid. And that's it. Thank you.
We are here helping in celebrating in Kuwait and Liberation Day and Mubarak al-Kabir. Our role here is to help any people who get injured, and we can do some blood pressure, sugar, and if anyone have any small accidents, inshallah la, and that's all. And thank you very much for our following up.
We are participating in this program as a part of the community, and we would like to inform that we provide nursing services to the community with a quality service and patient care at home setting. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to be here, a part of the community services that has been taken today as an initiative from the organization. We, Alisa Home Care Services, being a part of the community, would like to thank you, and we would like to know and let you know that we are being in this field of the healthcare services for the last 2 decades. We are the pioneers in the home care services. We provide nursing care facilities at the home setting. We provide medical, critical, and physiotherapy services where patients feel comfortable at their home setting. We take care of all kinds of patients, the seniors, the adults, the baby care, the rehabilitation care, and we look forward to building a better quality nursing services in Kuwait. Thank you.
Well, we're back right here in the studio, and our guests that we have right now with us, Fatma Al-Awadi, and Fatma is a translator at the Governorate of Mubarak Al-Kabir. Fatma, welcome to our program, Hala Kuwait.
Thank you very much, Tariq. I'm very pleased to be here.
Nice to have you with us right here in the studio. I know you and everyone at Mubarak Al-Kabir Governor has been very busy this last weekend. You had a very nice and exciting celebration, the folkloric celebration that was on, I think, the 16th and 17th of February this past weekend. So tell us, how was it?
Yes, we were actually pretty busy. During last weekend, we put together this event for the people of Mubarak Al-Kabir with the help of many organizations, many individuals who wanted to participate, many volunteers also. And we put segments and shows, and the main target was children.
Nice.
So the segments were
targeted
in the
to
style.
them?
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, we tried to make the segments more song styled,
Nice.
colorful displays, trivial questions, contests for the children, and also, as we all know, Kuwait is a multicultural country, and we embrace diversity. We had segments that portrayed other cultures than Kuwait, but of course the main theme was Kuwait.
And we can see you're even dressed with the traditional Kuwaiti flags and the nice old and new flag there, so that's really nice to see your patriotism, Fatma. Tell us now the benefits of having such celebrations, please.
Well, as you mentioned earlier, it's patriotism. The benefit also is to teach children and everyone who's living here the love of Kuwait, the pride, what we want to give to our country. Also, the celebration of the National and Liberation Day remind us, well, the celebration of the National Day is a reminder of how Kuwait got its independence in 1961, and how our forefathers shaped the present of Kuwait as a great country as it is today. The celebration of the Liberation Day reminds us of the sacrifice and love Kuwaitis gave to their country during the troubled time in the invasion in 1990.
So did you have a good turnout for this event this weekend, last weekend?
We had a very good turnout. We had some challenges, I have
was there
to say.
some challenges, yeah.
Of
But it
course.
looks like in that report we saw you guys got past everything, and it looked like very successful. People were happy, having a good time.
Yes, we were happy of the outcome. However, we didn't expect as many people, because every year we find out that there are more people coming and participating, and more children and more families. So we needed many chairs, many room for participation. And we were pretty confident with the chairs and the space that we had, only to find out that we were short of it.
Well,
because
that's something you learn for next year.
yes, of
Hopefully it'll
course,
take
we
more.
need more and more chairs because
Sure.
many people are learning about the annual
And
celebrations.
I look forward to coming. The weather in February is always so beautiful, besides today.
Yes, of
usually
course.
the weather is really nice and pleasant conditions. And this weekend it was nice, a little bit on the warmer side, but very nice for outdoor activities and so forth. So
Yes, it was.
it was really nice to see that event at Mubarak Al Kabir Governorate there. And so tell us the preparation. It took a while for you guys to get this going, huh?
Yes, but as I said, it's an annual thing, so we already know what we want to give to the public, and but we also want to prepare for any emergencies. For example, we have a booth that had the medical intervention team in case anything happens. We
Sure.
had we had security, so it takes some time to arrange that, but our governorate, the people that I work with, we work as one body and we help one another, and we couldn't have done it without the help of everyone.
Well, that's good. Everyone worked together as one
Yes.
team to make this a very successful event. And are you going to have any more celebrations coming up for National Liberation Day? Anything else you'd like to tell our audience about who are watching Hala Kuwait tonight?
We had the ceremonial raising of the flag, where His Highness Sheikh Sabah Al Ahmed Al Jaber Al Sabah raised the flag of Kuwait to start. This marks the start of the celebration. So then all the governors, including our governor, His Excellency Ahmed Abdel Latif Al Jeb, General Ahmed Abdel Latif Al Jeb, who cares, I want to add this, he cares about the youth, the future of children, and wants to bring this point out and encourage and instill the patriotic spirit in children.
Well, that's good. It's very nice to see when your governor, who is the leader there in that area, is very supportive.
He
and
is very supportive,
to
yes.
encourage the staff as well as do things for the youth.
Yes, and he always checks, and we work as a team. We don't see him just as our governor, but also as our leader in these events, because he has a good eye for such events, and he knows the public and the people of Mubarak Al Kabir, and we're very lucky.
And now in terms of the event itself, it was, how many hours was it? About 5-6 hours?
It started at 3:30 and ended at 9, but of course we were there earlier to prepare for it. So yeah, it was about 5.5 hours, 6 hours
Okay.
for the 2 days.
It was a 2-day, over
Yes,
a 2-day event.
on Friday and on Saturday, the same time.
Okay.
Yes.
And do now the people there, I'm sure they want to have more of these events, huh?
Yes, and we
enjoyed
do
it.
want more of these events for
Will
the
this
people.
be something on a regular basis that you'll do in the governorate?
Yes, it is an annual celebration. However, each year the dates are different, of course, because we want it on the weekend. So before that, a couple of weeks before the celebration, we put out flyers and on our social media account on Instagram where the celebration would take place and when, and the segments of the celebration also.
Good to hear that this was a very successful celebration, Fatma.
Thank you.
And at the end of, coming towards the end of our interview this evening right here on Hala Kuwait, what last words or comments do you have for the audience watching the program this evening?
Well, we just want to thank everyone who helped us during the celebration, and they made it all easy for us, the volunteers, the organizations, everyone who participated with us. We want to thank them all, and I want to thank you for having me here today. Thank you very much.
I'm very welcome to have you here, and I wish you and all your colleagues at the Mubarak Al Kabir Governorate the best of luck in your future endeavors, and happy National Liberation Day to everyone there at the Governorate, and thank you for being our guest this evening.
Thank you very much.
It was
You
a
too.
pleasure having you. We were speaking to Fatma Al-Awadi, a translator at the Governorate of Mubarak Al Kabir, and we'd like to thank her so much for her time with us this evening, especially they've had a very busy weekend, and nice that they came in to the studio this evening to talk about their big event. Well, right now we're going to move on to another one of our great reports, and we're going to go take a look at the Kuwait National Museum. So let's take a look at our beautiful museum and what it has to offer. Stay tuned.
Establishing a national museum in Kuwait passed through many processes and stages. Sheikh Ahmed Al-Jaber's house served as the first place for the museum. However, after the archaeological investigation in Faylaka, it was necessary to establish a department for antiquity and museums that bought old residence of one of the Kuwaiti families and turned it into the first national museum. Although the museum was planned during the early 60s by Michel Icouchard, it was opened to public in 1986, divided into 4 blocks, 3 for permanent exhibitions and the 4th for administrative offices and auditorium. The collection exhibited in the museum shows the visitor the richness of Kuwait history and its deep roots in history. The art collection of Al Sabah family, the collection of doughs, and the archaeological findings in Faylaka reflect the complexity of Kuwait history. These collections are among the most important components of the museum that all Kuwaiti nation should know its past in order to be aware of their country's glory. While the administrative offices and the auditorium take 1 block of the museum, exhibitions take the 3 other blocks. The 4 different blocks are connected by slopes, allowing tourists and visitor to have a very good look of the exhibited collections. Similar to all other institutions in Kuwait, Kuwait National Museum suffered from great destruction during the invasion. However, shortly after the liberation, the museum was fully restored.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that look at the Kuwait National Museum, a very beautiful museum. You could take a look there at all of the great history of our beloved country of Kuwait. They've done a lot of remodeling to make it even more beautiful and nice for the visitor to go out there and have a very nice day. You could spend many hours there looking at the beautiful history of the state of Kuwait, and I recommend it. Well worth a visit to go to the Kuwait National Museum. Well, right now we want to move on to another one of our great reports this evening, right here on Hala Kuwait, and we want to go take a look at the law segment that we have for us, our annual law segment. So let's go take a look at what's discussed this evening right here on our law segment. Stay tuned.
Today we'll be talking about the rights of airline passengers, and those rights are, mainly regulated by the 2 main conventions, Montreal and Warsaw Conventions. I am here to inform you about your rights because more and more people are traveling, and this flight delay issue is causing a problem for many. And yes, maybe like the flight has been delayed, but if the airlines did not do the necessary to, provide you with drinks or food and comfort you, you can then, ask for a compensation in court. So I would like to share 2 stories. Firstly, of an older man who, had to travel from point A to B in a duration of 3 hours and a half. However, he was informed of a technical delay by the airlines, so the flight is delayed for 2 hours. Then they informed them to get on the flight, they had to wait for another 3 hours and a half, then got them off the flight. So this whole process of getting on and off the flight took a total number of 20 hours. So he was really like furious, and he's an older man, he had health problems, and believe it or not, they didn't even offer, not even, you know, a drink or food. So he filed a case against them and received a compensation of 500 KD for that. So my advice to you, even though like at the moment the airlines did not do the necessary to fulfill your requirements, please keep all receipts, even water bottle, just keep that so that you can use this as evidence and to ask for all you had paid. The second story would be about the unaccompanied minors. Back in the older days, it was not a big thing, this unaccompanied minor, but many parents faced this issue with having the airlines not being very careful with the kid. So there was this 11-year-old child who had his parents sent him from, let's say, Kuwait to Canada, and he had a transit in one of the airports. So the father received a call from the staff saying that your son didn't get on the flight, so we'll have to get him on another flight, which would be the next day. So the kid had to wait 7 hours alone without any, he didn't have a phone to call his parents. So he waited, and believe it or not, again, the airlines did not offer this kid any drink or food. So the father was very furious and had contacted, the passenger complaint center. He wasn't satisfied with the agreement they offered him, so he filed a case against the airlines, and of course he asked for a bigger compensation, but received 1,000 KD, which is not bad for what he received. So my point is, you can always give it a try if you think your case is worth it, and you believe you're gonna win a bit of compensation. You can file a case, but as I said, there's even this force majeure issue. If sometimes it's not the airline's fault, you can't file a case because you won't get much. But in the end, it depends on the judge, because the judge has discretionary power. So from case to case, the results differ. I hope this benefited you, and hope to see you on our other segments with more useful information on different topics. Thank you.
Well, with that law segment, we pretty much come to the end of tonight's episode of Hala Kuwait. I hope you enjoyed all that we brought to you on tonight's program. Make sure to enjoy the rest of your viewing this evening and all throughout the week right here on KTV2, the family channel. I'll be with you once again tomorrow night at 6 p.m. for another episode of Hala Kuwait. So until then, make sure to take care of yourselves and each other, and let's always remember to respect one another. Have a nice evening, and good night for now.